Yo, what's up YouTube? All right, so we got a special unboxing today. First unboxing on this channel. So I won a nice little raffle on Gims Mods.
All right, so as you saw there, at University _Cornell, you're the official winner now of the Worker Kunlun blaster.
And I want to show that off today. So let's get to it. No joke. That metal bolt is very nice, but yep, I think that's the Kunlun. I'm not sure. I haven't opened it yet, but I assume that's what this is. The box does feel pretty small, but Worker is pretty much known for putting huge blasters in small boxes. Huge blasters in small boxes. All right, so there's the Worker Harrier box. This thing is pretty heavy. It's not that heavy, but it's a little heavy. Maybe I just feel that way because the Worker Harrier box is empty. Since we are about to put together a Kunlun, or Kunlun, as Luke from Outer Darts says, so I think it's only right that I pull out an actual Harrier to compare it. That's not a Harrier. I should probably switch that. Okay, now that's a Harrier. One of my favorite sniper class blasters, but now we have the Kunlun. Now let's get to the Kunlun, all right? Let's take this over to the desk and get it open. Cool, let's get into it. All right, this camera setup probably isn't the best, but I don't do very many unboxings. Also, this thing is completely covered from tip to tail in packaging tape. So I'm going to assume that it's absolutely waterproof. Also, I'm not really sure where to cut. I told myself I'll make this unboxing when I get this box, but definitely didn't plan for it to be today. I was checking the shipping like periodically since yesterday, since I knew it made it through New York, then it was in DC yesterday, and today it went from DC to like Waldorf, Maryland. Not sure why I went out there, but whatever. I was assuming that it might come today, but it's about 6 p.m. now and it just arrived like 30 minutes ago. And I was thinking, there's the Worker sign, so it's definitely a Kunlun. Look at that Worker sign right there. So anyways, I was starting to think that it wasn't going to make it today. They really did a good job packaging this. I think he ordered this from M4 Gel Blaster. I think so. I don't remember, but I think that was the one. Also, if that is incorrect, I'll put it in the description, but I'm not going to add any extra details about the price or what he paid for it or how he got it. I feel like it was a gift and some things should be left unmentioned. So yeah. Also, I kind of feel like, dude, look at that packaging, bro. They did a really good job. Look, see that? Look at that. Look at that. That you can't tell me that's not waterproof. It's like they wrapped it in some sort of like bag, then taped the hell out of it. Anyways, let's get that out of the picture. This is the Kunlun. I watched so many YouTube videos on this thing last night because I was anticipating it showing up soon. The box got a little squished right there somehow. And even with all that packaging, this thing is still taped up pretty good on the Worker box itself. Now, my Harrier did not come anywhere near as packaged like this. The packaging was okay, wasn't bad. It looked like it could have been packaged a little bit better, but it was packaged in like a box like this. And the actual Harrier box was underneath that. I got that from Outer Darts. So, I mean, nothing against Outer Darts. That's just the way it came. I think this one only comes in the brown box. It doesn't even come with like the little branding as like the, what do you call it? The same branding as the Harrier box does, where it shows the blaster on the outside. This one just comes like, I don't know, kind of just straightforward. There's nothing in there. Dude, it's hard to believe this blaster actually fits in this box. All right, there's the barrel. It's supposed to be the 550 millimeter barrel. Hope I said that right. Top rail. Let's see what else we got. Darts. I never even used those darts before from the Harrier. Like I literally just put them to the side because it only comes with 10, and I don't have like a huge surplus of worker darts. You know what I'm saying? I basically just use Dart Zone darts. Prior to me having my Harrier, Dart Zone happens to be my favorite Nerf brand. Technically still is. I think Worker is more like a premium brand. So my top two favorites outside of Dart Zone, that, you know, because Dart Zone is like mainstream and basically anybody can get their hands on those as long as you go to a Target or Walmart. Obviously for like exclusive stuff, you have to go to the website or some website for that matter. There's the manual. I think this thing is empty. Yeah, it's pretty much empty. This box probably has no extra use at this point. Usually I keep my boxes, but that one doesn't have anything special on it. All right. So yeah, this is obviously the scar. I feel like I should have gotten my other knife, but this should do. Keep it where you guys can see it. I don't exactly know how well the quality of this video is going to come out. My iPhone is basically stationed above me on a tripod. Like I said, I don't usually do unboxings, so I haven't quite figured out the best way to do a setup for something like this. And two, I wasn't expecting it to come so late in the day, so at this point in time of the day, I kind of just figured it wasn't going to come until like tomorrow morning. But long and behold, it came today, thank God. Let's see what this is. I feel like this, not sure what this is. Honestly, just like touching the bags or these little baggies, it's kind of hard to tell what's in them. I mean, I knew that was a scar because I knew it comes with one, and that's what it felt like. But this, I am not too sure what the heck this could be. I have no idea. This is top rails. I remember seeing Wallcom's video, and he opened his top rails some kind of weird way, and they literally smacked him in the face. He's one of my favorite YouTubers, but I'm going to honestly say that was funny. These top rails are plastic, from what I heard. They do feel like plastic, but they don't feel like cheap plastic. So let's put them to the side for right now, I guess. This must be the stronger spring. It doesn't seem like it might be, or maybe the stronger spring is already in there. That spring didn't feel so tough. Now, the Nexus Pro X, those springs, the upgrade springs for those feel insanely tough. Same for the Striker 2.0 upgrade spring. It feels very dense. Honestly, I don't even have the Striker 2.0 yet. I bought the upgrade spring, but I didn't even buy the blaster itself yet. Like, I bought the upgrade spring in preparation for it, but dude, for some reason, every time I went to the store to go buy the Striker 2.0, right, that green color just throws me off. It just makes me like kind of like not want it. It just looks goofy. But ever since I've seen how some YouTubers have been like doing cosmetic mods to it, like changing out the foregrip, changing out the buttstock, or the buttstock. So it looks good with more black accents, and I'm just like, damn, I should have bought that thing a lot sooner. But you know, it's all good. At least I'm prepared to get it. Well, I'm prepared to mod it once I have it. But to be completely honest with you, the Nexus Pro X shot pretty good without the modified spring. Like, I mean, it shot extremely hard for a 200 FPS blaster. It just feels like, I don't know, it felt like it shot harder than the Mark 2.1. I'm sorry, the Mark 1.2. Even though they're both 200 FPS blasters, which I feel like the Mark 1.2 shot a little harder than 200. Some people was getting like speeds of like 230. and some people are just getting average speeds of like 215 to 217. I do not have a chronograph yet, so I have no idea how hard mine was hitting out the box. Also, mine have uh, a different spring in it, so I guess the upgrade spring, I guess you can call it. I took the spring from the Aeon Pro X, and since it fits in a Mark 1.2, I put it in there. And that spring for that blaster is extremely tough. You would think that the Mark 1.2 wouldn't hit as hard as 200 FPS anymore, but bro, that thing hits like a champ now. Not that it didn't hit hard before, but with the spring from the Aeon Pro X, it hits even harder. So I wish I can chronograph it. I gotta make some time to cop me a chronograph so I can do some testing for science. All right, we have the gray Kunlun. I don't know if the shell feels a little bit thinner than I was gonna say the Nexus, thinner than the Harrier. The shell doesn't. It feels like, I don't know if it's just me or what, but it feels like slightly cheaper plastic. Maybe it's just me. Let me grab the Harrier really quick and just do a slight test. All right. Maybe because there's nothing in it. This one has a little bit more weight, probably because of all the rails and all the internals that's located inside of it. But the plastic feels like it's a little bit more hollow, or just not as tough as this one feels. But then again, like I said, once it's put together, maybe it'll feel a little bit different to me. This one, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. This is put together, so who knows? Let's finish it up. All right, now the main part for all sniper enthusiasts, the bolt action half. All right, so for all you guys out there who are used to the creature comforts that the Harrier came with, which is like everything lubed up. This one here does not have lube on that piece there where the O-ring is. There's no lube on it. So honestly, if you don't have any, you might want to get some of that before buying it, or get it along with buying it. Just so you guys know, I actually have some because I bought it for my Harrier, because I did a few upgrades to it and I knew like it was going to be a good thing to have. At least that's what I learned from watching so many YouTube videos. Alrighty. This one does feel a little bit more sturdier, probably because of the fact that it has things inside of it. But for sure, it's probably, there's some lube on the inside of this. The inside of this does have lube in it. I don't know if you can tell from there. You probably can't. Let's see. Yeah, you can't really, okay, you can see a little bit. But this has lube in it. This piece does not have any lube on it, so you might want to lube that up. The word lube is very funny for this sort of hobby. Actually, a lot of the words used in this hobby sounds dirty, to be honest. You have to use, so you have to say pull out pretty often. You have to say lube pretty often. I don't know if this is the stronger spring or what. Let's see what's inside. That's the spring guide. All right, so let's take a look. Is this the stronger spring? Honestly, no, this is not the stronger spring. This one is. This one's a little bit more squishy. That's my only way of telling the difference. And this one is not nearly as squishy as that one. So this is definitely the 200 FPS spring. From what I've seen, depends on what darts you use. You can get up to like 240, be close to 250 if you're using like bamboo darts. I would love to try this out. However, I'm going to be honest. I do not want to have to put this thing together again after taking it apart again. So I'm just going to go straight up to the max power, because literally I do not want to start this process all over again. I've done it so many times with my Harrier, checking out the lower power spring. Then I tried the higher power spring. Then I upgraded to like the 250 millimeter spring. And then I upgraded to the spring that gets you close to 300 FPS. So after all of that with the Harrier, I kind of learned that disassembling these blasters and reassembling them isn't all that fun. So it's like, for me personally, what I would prefer to do, pick a setting that I know that I would likely prefer, which is maximum power for whatever blaster it is. Like, there are some blasters that I have that aren't that powerful, and I would never mod them. Like cheap Nerf blasters that only hit about 70, 80 FPS, I would never mod something like that. But for the things that I buy that are capable of high power, and they do require some mods, I would rather just do those mods right then and there. If I have the parts, if I don't, I'll mod them when I'm able to. But then once that's finished, I will literally just leave it the way it is. I would not want to keep unassembling and reassembling the blaster over and over again. So what I'm going to do is go and grab some lube really quick. Obviously, the grease that is used for blasters, not actual lubricant. For all of my adult viewers out there, it's that super long top rail. I feel like it's going to feel pretty nice once everything's inside of it. One thing I've heard people say, the spring feels spongy. I guess I won't get a chance to find that out. Honestly, I don't know if that's for everybody or not, but like, it doesn't really feel spongy. It feels pretty okay to me. Maybe because everything's not put together, but let's get that lube. All right, got some gloves, obviously. I preferably do not like to add lube to my blasters without using gloves. I do want to see this plunger head. All right, I know one thing with my Harrier, that was looking pretty loose. I didn't change it. The seal is as good as anyone else's, I guess, because I did the seal test. It can last up to like 20 seconds or more. This does have a pretty decent amount of lube on it. I don't know if I should add any more. Yeah, I'm probably not going to. Yeah, all metal, as you can see. I think that's a, let me see. So there's rubber padding on the inside. You cannot see it from there. I mean, but there is. There's like the same material this is here is actually on the inside of there. So it's not on here. That is all metal. And then there's the O-ring. That's all metal. But inside the padding is there. So I guess this is dry fire safe for the most part. Should I add more lube? You know what? I think I'm just gonna add a little bit. Because the way I feel about it right now, if it's a good idea to add more in the future, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't want to have to open this thing up again when I can just do it right now. This bottle of lube probably cost me like $5 to $6 or less from Outer Darts. Let me see so you can see. So not very expensive lube. And as much as I've used it for my Harrier, well, I didn't use it that much, but I did use quite a bit. Considering this tube is like still pretty full. I used it on my bays. I think those are actually the only two blasters I used it on. I bought the bays. I did lube that up. I took it apart. I just went ahead and lubed everything. That blaster is pretty easy to take apart and put back together, except for the safety mechanism. I basically lost the springs for that, as well as, yeah, I just lost the springs for it. And I just kind of felt like, screw it. So that ended up becoming my first safety delete. Not intentionally, obviously, but yeah. And I think I'm gonna add a little bit more lube to inside of here. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Also, I just noticed that this thing has a hole in the side, that little port. I'm guessing so you don't vacuum load your darts or something of that nature. I'm glad to see that because my base had that, and at one point I used to think that that would hinder my performance, so I used to cover it, and I realized it wasn't really helping to cover it. So I stopped. I took the tape off, and I realized it works just fine without it, rather than it does when I put tape on it. There's lube on this sliding block here. I don't know why, but I'm guessing because the blaster slides on the inside when you rack the bolts. If any of my terminology is not up to par to what most people are familiar with, don't worry. I've only been in the hobby for about a year and a half. Even though I have since I got into the hobby, I bought a crap ton of blasters. Um, I mean, like a lot of Dart Zone. I started out with like Nerf Ultra, and I thought that was like the bee's knees. And then I slowly realized it, well, I slowly realized Nerf Ultra isn't all that good. The blasters are fun to play with for like in the house, and you don't have to worry about hurting anybody with the blasters you're using because they're not that powerful. And let's take this off. Actually, let's take this off. I don't want lube on the actual bolt itself, but I do need to put lube on the O-ring here. I feel like a mechanic right now doing all this. But that's Worker for you. They make you work for your blaster. Well, literally, for the price, and then also to put it together. But other than that, yeah, Worker makes you put a little work into having your blaster fully completed once you get it. All right, let's put this thing in here. All right, so if I'm not mistaken, someone somewhere on some channel, I've watched so many, either Milo's Mods or it might have been Milo's Mods, I don't know. It could have been Gims. Either that or it could have been Wacom, one of those guys. Somebody said to press this mechanism here all the way back in order to get that piece in there. And speaking of which, my guy, where's those screws at? Here they are. I think these are the ones I need because this thing, if we're not, yeah, I think you gotta like literally prime it to some degree to get this to stay in place. Hopefully I didn't mess something up already. Okay, there we go. Holy cow. Okay, one thing's for certain, it caught, but pushing it back like that wasn't as easy as people make it seem. And I don't want this thing to shoot apart, so I better hurry up. Yeah, this goes here. Come on, Kunlun, work with me. What's going on? Oh, snap. It looks like the blaster didn't quite like that. It split a little bit. So that's going to suck. All right. All right. Let's get these screws in there. I think it needs to be deprimed. I do not want lube everywhere, so I'll switch this glove. Yeah, I'm a neat freak to some degree, especially when it comes to oily chemicals or oily substances. Even though I'm not using my actual skin, I still want my gloves to be dry as I get this work done. So as I pull the piece back, the bolt back, this piece here split open. I mean, I'm guessing it's supposed to do that, but typically it will be held in place by the screws and other mechanisms. So I'm not sure if I put it together the correct way, or I don't know if I used the correct method putting this together, but whatever. Let's get it over with. Got some springs here. These probably work with, I guess, what do you call it? The trigger release. So, hey, get your ass back over here. These screws want to play games now. All right. So I don't know if they're all the same size or not. Are they? They seem to be all the same size. All right, let's get these babies up in there. That was a long screw in. All right, so I was a little worried about that because priming it back caused this whole piece here to split open, which I don't think that's a good thing. Yeah, so I put in 2 screws and it came with 3, so I wonder where that third one goes. First, check the manual really quickly and stop going based on muscle memory from all the videos I've watched. All right. Here's that. Right. So I feel like I didn't put a screw somewhere. I don't see where it would go. I don't know if that's just an extra long screw. Probably not. But so there's no holes missing a screw. So I am definitely inclined to think that one's an extra. But I'll likely watch some tutorials tonight after I put this together, 99% of the way, to see what the deal is. But let's get this top screw on there, this top rail on there. And I am pretty certain that these iron sights should probably go on now, because otherwise they will not be going on there. Not gonna lie, other YouTubers make these unboxes look so easy. Typically, these aren't hard for me to do. At least not for the Harrier anyways. But when I did that, I wasn't trying to record and talk at the same time. I think these are the front ones actually. Okay, so I can just pretty much, I can do these last actually, because you can unscrew them from the side and attach them, which I'm pretty sure somebody somewhere in the comments already know that. But I feel like the shell here isn't as closely put together as I would like. You see that there? You see how like there's a shadow? Because it doesn't completely line up. I don't know if that's normal or not, but that's something that is taking place here. The bolt seems to be fine. I don't know what's up with that. Definitely do not know. I think my rail is facing the wrong direction, probably. Yes, it was. So definitely make sure the holes line up with where the screw holes are. Obviously, that's common sense. but you're supposed to only do it one way apparently, because you can't just do it any way. It literally does matter. Let's get one in there. All right, that's one. It's not all the way in yet, but let's get a few more in there. Keep this thing stabilized. One thing for sure, you kind of wish you had an extra pair of hands when putting something like this together, just to keep it stable. These rails by themselves don't feel like much. Like, you know that they're metal, but they don't feel very heavy. But once everything is put together and attached, like, you start to really feel the quality of the blaster. When it's unassembled, you're excited because you know what it is, but until it's completely put together, you don't get to witness the full beauty of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like a puzzle, except for a puzzle you get to like shoot people with. I mean, respectively speaking, it's not like an actual firearm. It is a toy gun, but you know, 300 plus feet per second is still fun to shoot someone with. I'm going to be honest. Not that I want to be shot with it, but you know, I mean, fair is fair, right? If I want to shoot someone with a 300 FPS blaster, I should be willing to take a few hits myself, which is I'd be willing to do that. Obviously, I wouldn't want to be up against somebody with like a 70 FPS Nerf gun and I have this thing. Honestly, I don't really know if this is really practical for most Nerf wars. I mean, I'm pretty sure there are some out there that this would be practical for, but like in terms of like in your apartment or in your house, dude, probably not. Like even with the 200 FPS spring, probably not. Just because like if you have a Nerf battle in your house, it's basically a CQB battle, and you know it's kind of hard for me to use my Mark IV indoors. Like it's definitely doable, and I have definitely done it. I usually don't use the extra barrel, but it's just like hiding behind corners or hiding behind like the fridge or a couch. Like it's easy to see when you're about to pop out of somewhere because your blaster is long as heck. I would curse, but I don't want to ruin my chances of getting monetized. But anyways, with all that being said, me and my sons, we play. Well, the oldest one, he used to play, but he doesn't like to play anymore. Probably because me and the youngest son, we get out of control when we have Nerf battles, and you know, we just take it to the next level. Anyways, so playing against him is pretty cool. He has a Nexus Pro X. I bought two, and I gave him one. So Nerf battles against that is pretty interesting, especially if you don't add that upgrade spring, because that upgrade spring makes it very difficult to use. All right, so we got a few extra screws there, and if you ever been to IKEA and bought something from IKEA, you know having extra screws left over is never really a good thing. Let's see what we got here. Did I miss something on this side? All right. Looks like there's screws where they need to be. Some of these could legit be extras. I don't know. It is a Nerf gun, so extra stuff isn't uncommon. I am going to need to sit because it is hot standing up over these lights. All right, so for the very most part, the plastic does still feel a little bit cheaper than the Harrier. I don't know why. Maybe it is a little bit different plastic. But nonetheless, it is an amazing looking blaster. Before I forget to put this on, I should do it now because it looks pretty amazing without it. But I don't want to withhold some of the experience for myself because I've gotten used to the base form. So let's put this on and get the full experience. Emperor of Games, I have the blaster, and I will be reaching out to you after I complete this little tutorial of me struggling to put this together, and I'll let you know what I think about the blaster. Emperor of Games, he's a YouTuber who makes really good videos about Nerf gun news. So like anything that's coming out that's new, not anything. He only like uploads videos with like the coolest stuff possible, literally. Like he's not talking about like the newest X-Shot blaster that hits like 150 FPS. He's like only concerned with like the coolest shit possible, basically. And you kind of need somebody like that because as an enthusiast, there's some things, well, there's some blasters that you just want to like see the best of the best of, like the Guardian Lynx, for example, or the fully metal Kunlun. You really can't find these images that easily. At least I couldn't, even though I looked and Googled, but somehow he's finding them, and I'm very appreciative of that because I get to see things that I likely wouldn't have came across on my own. Let's see. This here spins a little bit still. I think I fully tightened it, but it still moves. Like, I don't think you can pull it upwards, but yeah. Anyways, that's that. This here, I've heard people say that theirs was pretty loose on the Harrier when they got it. For me personally, my Harrier's P card was never loose. It's actually a lot like this one. It's kind of hard to get on. It's like so hard to get on where you can actually unscrew the barrel if you twist it. That's how hard it is to get it on there. And I would much rather if it makes it to the line. There we go. This way the dart doesn't go through. Like there was a little bit of gap between the barrel and the stopping line, and I didn't want there to be a gap because then there's a gap and the dart flies through. It's going to hit that indentation and cause it to stop a little bit. It's going to decrease a little bit of the FPS because basically it hit a roadblock before making it through the rest of the way. I'd rather be like completely flush. This way it goes straight through as it needs to without any extra hindrance. All right, so that's mostly it right there. Let's see if this mag fits in here. Oop, clearly putting the mag in wrong. There we go. I feel like let's put these O-rings away, these extra springs. I don't think I'm going to open it completely up, although it looks like it's pretty simple to do that, but I highly doubt that I will. If I ever did, it would be, this is a really stiff spring right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's a really stiff spring. So this may be for the trigger release, and if it is, then this might be a good replacement if you feel like your trigger is squishy. For me, mine don't seem to be a big deal. There's two more springs. They're like a little bit attached together. There's a really tiny one and this long one here. I'll put this all back in here. I don't want to lose any of it. Here's an O-ring for your dart pusher. So the last thing I'm going to do, well, two things I'm going to do last is load this up with a dart, make sure it shoots just fine. Like I said, I don't know what's up with this extra screw, so I'm going to probably have to watch a few YouTube videos to see how other people put theirs together and to see if I've done something wrong. I'm guessing likely, but it doesn't look like it. Because even if I did do something wrong, I don't see where this screw would even go in the first place. Looks like everything is put in the right place. I mean, it's not that complicated, right? It's like, it ain't that much you really could do. I do need to put this in something so I can label it so I don't get it mixed up with my other springs. But this looks like it could fit into like one of my other blasters. I'm not sure what I would put it in. I think my first choice will probably be my Mark 1.2 to see how it plays in that. See if it gives me like a stiffer prime. If it gives me a stiffer prime, that's usually a good sign that, you know, if it's stiffer than what it is currently, then that's a stronger spring for higher FPS. Let's see, the safety is on. Is it? Yeah, it wasn't on, but it wasn't fully through either. Yeah, my spring does. You know, not spring. My trigger. My trigger does not feel squishy whatsoever. So I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it feels. I mean, I don't know what to say. It feels fine. Like I want to critique it and be like, oh yeah, it feels a little squishy, but don't seem like it's a problem. Now, oops. Um, that's here. The final piece I do need to do. I haven't ordered any like scopes or anything like that. I do plan to soon, but here's two screws. Not sure where these two would probably go because all of my rails are on there. They're not missing any screws. That one's not missing any screws. Well, you guys see me put it together. So yeah, I'm guessing these are a little bit just some extra stuff. I can probably check my Harrier's baggies and see if there's anything extra in those, just to have an idea of like that's a standard that Worker does. I'm thinking so. There's those stickers. Worker Kunlun or Quinlan. Do not point. Do not point the gun at people or animals. Honestly, that's the first thing I'm gonna do. I'm joking. Not the first thing I'm gonna do. Honestly, I don't go to enough Nerf wars to even have a reason to point this at anybody. But I do shoot my Nerf guns out the window. So, yeah, take that as you will. I don't shoot them at people or animals, but I do shoot up into the air. So I'm pretty sure they land in the grass somewhere. However, they depends on what blaster I'm using. They do go about 2 houses over, so hopefully. Well, I don't know. Maybe maybe that's not a good idea. So I can't really see where they're landing, but they're not made of metal. They're only soft, squishy darts for the most part. So I'm pretty sure they lose velocity on the way down. Maybe. Just want to try this one out really quickly. I want to test out this prime. Okay, dude, I'm not gonna lie. I've seen other people prime their 300 FPS spring, and they make it seem like it's easy. Put this safety on because that shit was hard as. Dude, I don't want to curse too much, but like that thing was hard as heck to pull back. I'm not even joking. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, the ball is like so easy to prime. You can just pull it back. It's so easy." Dude, well, it's not easy. Hold on one second. Let me give you guys some extra light. That was not easy. I mean, I am definitely not weak. That's for sure. Like, so I do not know. I mean, to me, if the prime is that hard to pull back, to me that's technically a good thing because that means my blaster got some serious firepower. But that prime was not easy to pull back, bro. Okay, it shoots extremely hard. And as long as this blaster is, I mean, it's long, but I don't feel like, I think I broke something too when I shot that. I'm not gonna lie, I really feel like I broke something. Maybe because the spring is like mad fresh and it's like completely full powered, but I'm pretty sure I broke something. Okay, nothing broke. I shot a basket. It sounded like it broke. The dart head did get a little damaged. That was about 7 to 8 feet away. I guess that's expected. This thing is like crazy high powered. So you can only imagine shooting someone in close distance with that. I know that shouldn't be funny, but it was a little funny. Probably don't do that. Matter of fact, not even probably. Most definitely do not do that. My Mark IV with that Nexus Pro X spring inside of it, even though that's not technically an upgrade spring, well, technically it is because, bro, that thing has a seriously hard prime to it, and it shoots hard. I mean, like, even though I don't have a chronograph to prove it, like, it puts out what seems like more power than my modded out Harrier. And that thing has the maximum spring in it and the second to longest barrel. So not this barrel, which is the 550. I think I have the 450 in there. So take that as you will. Somehow, when I say it hits harder, well, it seems like it hits harder because it feels very apparent that it does. I just don't have any proof to say if it does or not. And that's without the barrel extension. Now, after I've used it a good amount of times, it doesn't hit as hard as it did when I first put that spring in. When I first did that, it was terrifying to shoot that blaster. Literally, like, not even joking. It was terrifying. Enjoyable, yes, but literally terrifying because it just seemed like a bad idea to shoot anyone with it. So anyways, me and my son was having this Nerf battle, and he was using the Nexus Pro X, and I was using that. Probably slightly unfair battle, because his only hit 200 FPS. Even though slightly unfair, his is like smaller in comparison to size and everything like that. Doesn't have as hard as a prime, so he can prime faster. And, you know, so like, take it as you will. You can't really, how do I want to say this? You can't really hide all that well with that Mark IV. Let's put it that way. So, hitting with the Nexus Pro X is a lot easier than with the Mark IV. So if you can actually get a nice little hiding spot and you're like ducking behind the door, which is what he was doing, he was getting like back-to-back headshots on me. That thing is super accurate. Not the Mark IV is too, but the Pro X is like super accurate, dude. All right, so let's see here. This may be a little difficult because I might need to prop up the blaster so I can get this in there properly. Yeah, probably going to need to. Let's see how we working. Oh, we good. We Gucci. Oops. All right. I'm a huge sniper fan. Like, my gaming channel was Venom Snipe because I used to play a lot of Halo 3, and I was a pretty decent montager. I don't play anymore, but during that time period of my life, I did play a lot. Let's see what we got here. This one has 2 screws to undo, so that's going to be interesting. Anyways, so yeah, I'm a huge sniper fan. Although I would say me with the Mark IV versus this would probably be pretty easy in terms of like speed, in terms of using a blaster, because I can just pump and prime it. I don't have to take my hand off the actual priming mechanism to use it, whereas with this I would. So slight disadvantage there, but Worker is known for its impeccable accuracy. The only other blaster I can compare my my Harrier to in terms of accuracy is my Baze. That thing is crazy accurate, and it's not even modified yet. Oops. All right, screw just well, I don't know if you call it a screw, a nut, a bolt, whatever you call it. One just came out. I need to put that back on there. I don't know how long this video is, but I'll tell you one thing. It was not intentional to make it a long video. I don't have the Seagull yet, although I should have been gotten around to it, but I was lazy and I was focused on other things. So I'm not too up to snuff with putting these iron sights on. More like plastic sights than iron sights, to be honest, because they're not iron at all. But yeah, I feel like a scope and a bipod really does complete this blaster, for sure. Like, no joke. That should be good enough. But in terms of the power it's putting out, I am very impressed. I only got one shot out of the thing. Oh, another thing is, despite how long this blaster is, I am pretty tall. I'm like 6'2", right? So it doesn't feel as long as I thought it would be. Like in all the videos, Like, it looks super long. It is. Well, clearly it is. But it's not as long as I thought it would be. So like when I put it up to my arm to like shoulder it, it felt pretty short. All right. One thing for certain, removing this Allen key here is not easy. It looks like it should be. Maybe because I have gloves on. Let's see. But for the most part, it definitely doesn't feel easy. Let's get this. Well, I need that. Don't need these. Can always keep a bag. You never know. It might come in handy. Let's see. Can I get this out? I cannot. I would need nails or some sort of extra contraption like this to get it out. I cannot get that out otherwise. See, now I can take it out. The Harrier is a lot easier. Alrighty. Yeah, I'll give you guys my thoughts on this. I hope to God everything's put together right, because there's that one extra screw and those two extra small screws. But from what I can see, everything's in place. Nothing's loose. The shell did split at the top here. I don't know why that's the case. I mean, it is plastic after all. Also, it's not nearly as heavy as Gordon Sue said it was. He made it seem like it was heavy. He had a scope on his too, but honestly, it's not a heavy blaster. My Mark IV is way heavier than this. It's pretty light. I want to say compact almost. So what I'm going to do is swap this camera over so we can have a face-to-face.